Hello, I am just now editing the vlog that you just clicked on, and I wanted to let you know that there is a bit of Harry Potter content in this vlog. I got my dust jackets from Nerdy Ink in the mail, the recovered collection for my Harry Potter books, and I talk about those dust jackets in this vlog. So if you need to click off, if you don't want to watch it, I totally understand. Please do whatever is best for you and take care of yourself. If you're gonna stay, I hope you enjoy the vlog. Another reading vlog. It is a Monday morning. I've got a relatively busy day today, in the scope of quarantine so far. Today is a relatively busy day, and I also want to talk through the book that I read last night. So last night at about midnight, I finished reading If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I really enjoyed it. I don't want to give away too many of my thoughts because most of them are indeed spoilery. Boston Reads Books was not joking when she said that this book is the secret history for people who didn't like the secret history. The thing that I liked about the secret history was the atmosphere, and especially at the beginning of this book, this has the exact same vibe. It is definitely reproduced in this book. I'm gonna get ready a little bit if you don't mind while we chat. This book definitely lived up to the hype that it has received. It is really well done. At the beginning, the 7 students are each in a very specific role, and it seems like in their dynamic with each other, they also play that role. When the roles on stage start to change, because the directors say that they want to switch things up, the roles off stage start to change too, which is really interesting to see what goes down because of that, and it's not great things. One of the themes that's pulled all the way through is people play their role. When the ending kind of comes full circle, you could see like throughout the whole thing, though they've been under stress, these people have played their roles the whole time, which is not something that you really see. I think we're used to seeing people break out of their roles, but I think this is a story about people staying within their roles, which I find to be really interesting and a really interesting choice, and it's an interesting idea to think, what is more realistic? Is it more realistic to have people continue to play their part, or is it more realistic to have people breaking out of what is expected of them? I would argue that the If We Were Villains side of this discussion is more realistic to life, that people are more likely to stay in their lane. If you've read this book, let me know if you picked up on that as a theme, or if you had completely different ideas, and let me know what you think about which type of narrative is more realistic to life. Which, that doesn't make it any more valuable. There's a lot of escapism in reading. We love stories that are not like real life, and that push us to defy the odds that are stacked up against us that maybe aren't healthy. I am not quite sure what I'm going to be reading next. I know I'm going to continue with Sense and Sensibility. I'm thinking that today I may start Ninth House because my eyebrows look funny. Because I have that borrowed from a friend and I don't want to keep it too long. And I am really enjoying Sense and Sensibility. My mother says she didn't love Sense and Sensibility when she tried to read it. She got really annoyed, and I bet she was annoyed with Marianne, which I understand. Or maybe she could have been annoyed with Eleanor. That would be interesting to know. I have internship work from noon with a lunch break from noon until 3. But until noon, I'm going to have some breakfast. I'm going to do my final written assignment for my midpoint internship requirement, and maybe work on editing the vlog before this one if I have the time. Yes. If We Were Villains, Sense and Sensibility, Ninth House. Good stuff. You guys, this is so exciting. I am in the process of editing my first vlog that I took last week. This is exciting. This is fun. I am having a good time. That's all. I haven't read anything. I just wanted to tell you that I'm editing a video. It is now very near my bedtime on Monday night, and I have just been editing my first vlog that will go up hopefully tomorrow night. I'll finish it and put it up. I know that no one will see it, but I'm excited anyway to put it out into the world. But something's been bothering me. I keep thinking, I know that I bought a Barnes & Noble Classics edition of Sense and Sensibility. You know the one, the solid color books with the painting on the front that sort of looks like it might be related to the book. Well, I couldn't find it. It wasn't on my shelf, and I had recently sold a bunch of books to McKay's because we have one in my area, so I figured I probably just sold it there, or I gave it to my mom and it's in her bookshelf. Who knows? Well, today, guess what I found? Behind my classics. I didn't have room after I bought a couple more, so I had tucked it behind my classics in my bookshelf. So when I went to the hairdresser today, I took this with me because this is much more transportable than the massive Jane Austen tome that I was reading from. In this book, I'm now 160 pages in. I believe I'm in chapter 7 of volume 2. So things just took a turn for the worst, like they always do with Jane Austen, and it was very dramatic and it's very sad. And I'm very interested to see how things progress in this book. So, really loving Sense and Sensibility. I have not yet started Ninth House. I thought that I might before I went to bed. I don't know that Ninth House will necessarily be a lullaby of a book, but maybe at least it'll get me to a point where I can fall asleep. Is that fine? Y'all, okay, I just want to say that if you can hear my computer fan in the background, that is my first YouTube video uploading. I finished editing it, and I know that it's not great, but I also know that I'm not really good at editing it, and I'm also not good at filming, and I say way too much, so I'm gonna try to stop that. And I also slap my books really hard when I'm talking about them, so I'm gonna try to stop doing both of those things. But there it goes. There's the I don't have any reading updates today. I listened to Sense and Sensibility on my way to work, and while I was on the treadmill on my way home from work, I listened to My Favorite Murder. I have not read anything of Ninth House except for the prologue, which I read last night and was utterly confused by. So I think I'm gonna go get ready for bed and see what I can get read of Ninth House tonight. I will not be vlogging tomorrow. My dad is having surgery, and so I will be home from my internship. There's only one person allowed to go to the hospital to go to the waiting room, so my mom is going, and I'll be here waiting for news, hoping that everything is going okay, just so that I don't catch my nervousness on camera. I'm not going to vlog tomorrow, but I will be back hopefully with some reading updates Thursday. Hello, it is now, what is today? Thursday, about 3:30. I went on errands with my mom today, slept really late. After yesterday, my dad had a really successful surgery, so that is wonderful. He's still
at the hospital and we can't go see him because of COVID-19, but he's doing really well. So I am about 100 pages into Ninth House. I read a bit yesterday just to like calm my brain down. And I'm really enjoying it so far. I love the supernatural elements that I've seen. I've heard that it really doesn't have any magical rules, like anything in any magic system that's ever existed can be in this book, which is a little scary. I'm gonna see how I like that, if I like it or not. Right now I'm just gonna sit down and read for like half an hour, 45 minutes, and have a snack. Are you trying to steal my food? You little thief. You can't have it, it's not for you. But you're pretty.
Alright, I wasn't going to update for a while longer, but I just got some bookish mail. These are the Harry Potter recovered dust jackets from Nerdy Ink. I ordered these on the most recent pre-order that was supposed to ship out mid-May and just got them in the mail. These are not licensed Harry Potter Wizarding World merchandise, so that is great for obvious reasons of people that we don't want to support. Ooh, I have a stack of some of the Harry Potter series that I recently purchased secondhand about a month ago. I have 5 out of the 7 books here, all of them except for the first and the third. Those obviously are everyone's favorites and so popular that I have not been able to find them at the secondhand bookstore in my area, but I did find all 5 of these, so I'm going to open this and put them on, and then I'm going to keep the first and the third dust jacket in this nifty little tube until I can find a copy secondhand. This is so exciting. These are beautiful and unreal. I haven't seen them around very much, but I saw them on Olivia Reads a Latte's channel and I commented, I was like, where did you find those? Because those are incredible. It doesn't exactly fit perfectly all the way around. It's just the back cover that's got an issue. Maybe this isn't my issue. Maybe I am the one who does not know what's going on. You know what? That works for me. It's kind of creaky, but it's beautiful. These are unreal. If I liked Throne of Glass, I would have to get the Throne of Glass one too, because this is incredible. This is, I have too much caffeine in my system right now. I'm gonna start over and talk slowly. I just sat down to film my first sit-down video, which was the BookTube newbie tag. Here I go again, I'm talking really fast. So last night after Mom and I watched The Mysterious Affair at Styles on BritBox, we read together on the couch, which was
super cute. And then we both fell asleep. But I got a good chunk of the way through Sense and Sensibility. I've been reading this morning, listening to the audiobook, and then reading along, and I am so close to the end. I actually have no idea what's gonna happen. I feel like some people are gonna get married in like the 11th hour, but the 11th hour is approaching so fast. I have no idea what's gonna happen. But I just have one thing to say. Marianne Dashwood is an Enneagram 4. You heard me. I'm a 4, so I can say it. I love and respect Eleanor so much. She's been a little infuriating. I don't know why she hasn't talked about her feelings, but it's for the good of the group. And I just think that she is a really wonderful character. Even though this is Jane Austen's first novel, like, I have loved every single second of it. So I'm kind of sad to see it end, but I have no idea what's gonna happen, and I'm so excited to find out. This is the most energetic I've been on a video so far. It's because I've slept a lot the last 3 days, and I also just had a big cup of coffee, so I'm gonna go finish Sense and Sensibility, and I'll let you know what I think. Alright, so I finished Sense and Sensibility, and I absolutely loved it. My mom and I are going to pick up my dad from the hospital, and he is in the next town over, so it's going to be a bit of a drive. The rest of the day I'm going to be reading White Rage by Carol Anderson in preparation for the Blackout Buddy Read live show tonight, so I will give you more thoughts on Sense and Sensibility later on, but that's what I'm reading now. Alright, so it is now the evening. We went and picked up my dad. He's doing really well. I read White Rage. It was absolutely phenomenal. I'm definitely gonna have to read it again and do outside research because there's so much information in such a short book, but it was incredible. I'm about to sit down for the Blackout Buddy Read live stream, and I'm really excited for that, to just listen and learn and hear what people have to say. Alright, so it is now Saturday afternoon. I'm just sitting outside getting some reading done. Last night, that discussion on the live show for the Blackout Buddy Read was absolutely incredible. Very, very enlightening and impactful and sobering. It'll be in a card and also in the description. It is over 2 hours, but it's invaluable. Today I am just reading Ninth House. I am nearing the halfway point, and I really like it so far. I haven't come across any sort of magic or creature that was necessarily confusing yet. It all pretty much seems to fit within the paranormal ghost narrative. That is all I have to update you for now. Please go watch the live stream. If you weren't there last night, please go watch the recording, or go watch it again. Hello, welcome to Sunday. Today's gonna be the last day on this reading vlog, and I will start a new one tomorrow. I have one goal today. Well, I don't have one general goal today. I have one reading goal today, and that is to finish Ninth House. Is it possible, you ask? Yes, because I have like 150, well, like 130 pages left. So my main thoughts on this so far are this magic is actually really scary. I love the budding friendship between Dawes and Alex, and Alex is the way to do a morally gray character. Unless these 100 pages left go terribly wrong, I think I am gonna continue with the series. Okay, so I literally just read the last words of Ninth House, got up from sitting over on my bed over there, and sat down. I wasn't planning on talking about any of my thoughts until I had written a review in my reading journal, and I was going to talk about Sense and Sensibility and Ninth House together and just sort of give a wrap up for the week. But I sort of wanted to catch my just absolute perplexion. Is that a word? I am perplexed with like the last quarter of this book. The writing, just for a while, as you can see from my last update, I was enjoying it, and I said, unless something goes terribly wrong in the last quarter, I'm going to continue with the series, and something went terribly wrong. The reveal in the last few pages doesn't feel like a plot twist, it feels like a joke. Same with like the plot twist at the end, when you solve the murder, like the plot twist, it seems like a joke. I can have more articulate things to say later once I sit down and write out my review. Right now, I'm going to sit down with my Cawpile spreadsheet and put both Sense and Sensibility and Ninth House into it, and then write in my reading journals my thoughts on both, and then I will come back to you with a final clip on what I have to say about both of those books. So I sat down for about an hour, as you probably saw in a montage clip, to write in my reading journal. I'm going to be making a video pretty soon about how I log my reading, but this is my reading journal where I write out all my thoughts and my reviews and track my reading. So I wrote out reviews for both Sense and Sensibility and Ninth House. So let's do Sense and Sensibility first. I loved this book. It was a 5-star for me. The characters are at the center, like they are at in every Jane Austen novel, and since I am someone who reads for character, I love it. So I will give you my Cawpile ratings for each of the aspects of the Cawpile rating system, and then I'll just go into my favorite parts. Characters for Sense and Sensibility were a 10, atmosphere was 9, writing was 10, obviously. Plot was 9, intrigue was 10, logic was 10, and enjoyment was an 8. The two main things I want to talk about are characters and enjoyment. So I will tell you, even though I loved the book, why I gave it an 8. On the enjoyment scale, there was a lot of emotional pain happening on the part of the characters in this story that made it a bit hard to read at some points, and so I would be thinking about reading or going to the gym or driving to work or whatever and thinking, oh man, I want to listen to my audiobook, but Marianne is so upset. It was hard to pick up sometimes, and so that's why I just knocked it down 2 points. So Marion and Eleanor, especially Eleanor, are 2 of my new favorite book characters. I loved all the side characters too, but I don't really want to talk about them because there are so many. Marianne is a sweet young girl who feels all of her emotions to the full extent. She indulges all of her emotions constantly and feels them on a 100 level. Whether it's joy or pain, she's in it. And so that's what causes one of her main issues in this novel, is that she's in pain. She's experiencing heartbreak. And so it's a 100 level heartbreak that really causes her to grow and realize, which I think is something that very emotional people like me realize at some point in their life, is like, man, if I don't get my feelings under control, I'm gonna destroy myself. So Marianne sort of grows up in that way and realizes that she needs to just get a handle on herself and have some sense before she falls in love. And Eleanor is the ultimate stoic. She has feelings that are just as deep as Marianne's, but she doesn't let anyone know what they are, which is really frustrating for Marianne and frustrating for me, because we want her to talk about her feelings. And so that's where the conflict comes in for the sisters mainly, is that Marianne is always talking about her feelings and she wants Eleanor to tell her, to confide in her, and Eleanor just wants to be left alone to feel her feelings and control them on her own. She gets what she wants in the end. She gets what her heart's been pining after for the whole book, and it's really awesome to see that for a character who has been struggling so much. At the beginning of the book, there are basically two separate extremes, but by the end, they've sort of learned the good parts of the other and grown up through that. There is an essay as way of introduction in the beginning of this Barnes & Noble Jane Austen complete edition that I want to read a sentence or two from, that sort of explains the purpose of the story and how it works. Austen's message is not, however, that love is a bad basis for marriage. Rather, Austen warns that sensibility without sense in the choice of a spouse, and indeed against sense without sensibility. Obviously, Marianne must learn to be more sensible when falling in love, but the otherwise perfect Eleanor must herself learn to be more sensitive. Austen argues consistently in her novels that love is, or should be, strongly felt, but grounded in rationality and morality. Her heroes and heroines are rewarded with their happy ending only if they recognize, learn from, and most important, correct their faults. This gave me all the fuzzy feelings, and I'm so excited to watch the Emma Thompson movie, which she wrote the screenplay for and she stars in as Eleanor. All right, let's take a turn and let's talk about Ninth House. Ninth House is going to have a 3-star from me. Characters were 7, which was the highest number that I gave anything in this book. Atmosphere was 6, the writing was 5, the plot was 4, intrigue was 5, the logic was 3, the enjoyment was 6. As you heard, as you can tell, I enjoyed the characters most of all. I actually really liked Alex a lot. I did find issue with the fact that there's one part of the magic system in this book where I'll just say something magical happens to a person and then they do bad things. I just felt like there was a double standard between Alex and the other characters, where Leigh Bardugo either used this magical aspect to make it okay that someone did something, or she used it to villainize someone. It was a terrible thing that some of these characters have done, and the main character was also involved in that, and she was one of the ones where when it happened to her, it was okay and it made what she did passable. But then there were other characters who were villainized through that, and I just didn't find that very compelling or strong. I actually really liked the aspect of Alex being starkly different than her Yale backdrop. Alex is not Yale material. She is there because she sees grays, and that's the only reason. So then when she starts to push against that this is the way things have always been done mentality, she finds the nastiness inside the inner workings of Yale, and that's a really interesting development to see her sort of fade in. And as you realize what's really going on behind the scenes at Yale, Alex is not so different. She really kind of fits in. The writing was also a huge issue for me. It felt like two different novels. It felt like a fantasy magic university novel, and it felt like a true crime novel. And the reason was because when those two different aspects of the story were being explored, they were written completely differently. The fantasy magical elements were written in a cool narrative. Alex is observing things, explaining things, really nice descriptions. And then when she's investigating, it's short, straightforward sentences, lots of questions explaining her inner thoughts and her inner monologue. At the beginning of the story, those two aspects are very separate, but because they were not written in a cohesive way that binds them together, when in the plot those two aspects of the story start coming together, I didn't buy it. They don't easily come together because they're not written in the same way. So the writing really faltered, in my opinion, in that way. I really didn't mind the plot so much. In the first 3/4, I was kind of spooked. I was a bit intrigued. I liked the ghost element. A lot of people actually had a problem with the ghosts because, in Emma's words, they were too gimmicky. And I actually didn't mind them at the beginning because The Sixth Sense is one of my favorite movies, and they reminded me a lot of the ghosts from The Sixth Sense. And as we dove deeper into the magic in this world, it got kind of dark and scary, and so all of a sudden the ghosts didn't fit anymore. But from my perspective, we were in Alex's brain, and she can see the grays, and so that's the reason why she's here. That's what the story is built on, that Alex can see the grays. And so when the grays are the central focus point of the narrative, when you start adding things that don't match the grays, those are the things that don't match. Those are the things that don't belong. And so I'm hoping that any of this makes sense. The majority of the magic system in my mind got tossed out because it didn't really align with the grays. It was darker and scarier than the grays, and the grays were what I was focused on. This really felt like I have an app for that magic system. There's nothing that you can't do, and everything felt very convenient. And I gave enjoyment a 6 because I really did enjoy it for the first 3/4. I was sort of living and learning and having fun. And then in the last quarter, the book found its way to a real plot, and it was chaos. So overall, this was a pretty enjoyable read. I'll have to check in with my feelings later on when the second book comes out to see if I'll read it. So if you have read either of these books, please let me know in the comments what you think about either of these books themselves or my thoughts on them, and we can have a discussion. I am praying that my thoughts are... I'm really hoping that the thoughts that I gave in this clip are coherent enough for you to be able to disagree or agree with me on the books. But either way, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Thank you if you have commented on my last 2 videos or liked them or subscribed. I really appreciate the support and the warm welcome that y'all have given me. Like I said, if you have any comments on anything about this video, anything that I read in this video, any book recommendations, or you just want to say hi, please leave a comment. Thank you for hanging out with me this week. I will see you next time. I hope you love what you're reading. Bye.